Hey, it's Chief Bonding with Board Games and RPGs coming to you with the Chiefs Vlog Live. All right. Well, first of all, I've brought back my old camera. I don't know why I wasn't using this already. It was guaranteed 1080p. Well, I know why a little bit. I had a little trouble with it for a while. The focus would just pop all the time. And for the amount of viewage we were doing on my whiskey channel, it drove people nuts, if memory serves. So I went and got a new one, and the focus didn't pop around. Now, of course, the problem there was there were two of us, and I think it was trying to focus anytime either one of us moved. But you will see it do it to me every once in a while. First, my AT-AT, boom, AT-AT shirt. This one is cool. You got other AT-ATs in the back. You got a setting sun. You got kind of a messy room. Sorry about that. This one has a wider aperture, so you're going to pick up some more stuff. What we are also going to be talking about, well, I just got over the flu. Actually, the whole Brunchine, the Chiefs family got over the flu, except my oldest son, my senior, my 18-year-old, had like a 24-hour bout. He was back, and he was nervous because he's getting ready for a play, and he thought, uh-oh. So, but I'm talking rocked. Like, I wasn't sure I'd be filming the live Knave 2E I did today, but I feel almost probably like 95%. Still a bunch of chest congestion that hasn't broken loose, but back to normal, back to normal. Speaking of that live, take a look at this screenshot where we left it. Boom. Look at this. There's a portal to hell down in a deep cavern with runes on the floor. And that's the pretty scene because fires erupted down there. There were 81, 82 cultists. This just shows, what is that, 20 maybe in there? But there were a bunch of them caught fire. We are on this raised spot, and there's a fight going on. But you're going to have to wait 2 weeks. But please, if you haven't, the live shows, they're different. I know it. I did the whole Maze Rat series. You'll see Never Fear 1911, who's in this one as well. So what I do, let me back up. I go in, I use a system. So I've been using Ben Milton, who I don't know, but he lives here in Wichita as well. And I used Maze Rats the first time. It was a blast, worked great, ran into this great campaign. Beautiful. We even picked up 2 people joined instead of just observing, and other people will sometimes pop in and help name things. It's a real like social collaborative, live, ad hoc, nothing's pre-planned and stuff just starts cooking off. So, but it's not produced hardly at all. It's got this camera. It's got me doing this. Rolling dice, dropping some occasionally. People say, I want you to use a dice tower. I'm like, no, I left the dice tower. Just kidding. But it's a fun show. This will be the thumbnail for the next episode in 2 weeks. We're only 8 episodes in, so that one you can jump on board right now if you wanted to. Well, I almost removed myself from the stream. That would have been bad. If you wanted to get in, it's a good time to go watch, and we're having a blast. I am drinking Traveler whiskey. Boom, little blend here. See, there's that camera pop. See, it's almost too good. It's almost too good for TV, but this is a much better camera. If anybody has comments, throw them up on the side as they go. We are going to be talking about the books that are over my shoulder here, and we'll talk about some RPG books I got sitting over here that I'm going to get to within this calendar year of 2025. So we covered recovering from the flu. Not fun at all. Although, been on the police department 29 years, so guess who's got tons of sick leave? I do. And I used it. And boy, did I need it. But the other thing I wanted to cover, and then we'll come back and spend more time on this as we go. Hey, Dick Skull's in. Look at this. Hey there, Chief. I'm damn shy, but I have been lurking. Perfect. No, Dick Skull was in the Maze Rats campaign and ran an awesome character in there. Great game that was. Digging the new content. Cool. Very good. The live stuff's just been so much fun. There's no way I'm going to stop doing it. And the nice thing about running those ad hoc, one, it's a really fly by your seat pants. Hello, talking like great grandma, flying by the seat of your pants, GMing. And Knave or Ben Milton's real good with all the tables that can help you out when you're in a jam. But the rules are not hard, and you're just moving and you're playing and you're gunning, and it's fun. And I get to work on keeping the pacing up, keeping the entertainment up. We stopped on a cliffhanger on this last one. Perfect. Using Grok 2, hopefully Grok 3 soon to help make images. Of course, everybody knows I'm not making any money off this, really. I think last month I got $12. $12 barely buys me a coffee nowadays, but that's all right. I'm not doing it for that cash cow, baby. Not doing it for the cash cow. But so having the ability to grab images that help you bring it to life, and I'm getting real excited looking at what some of these text to video things are doing. Not that I want to run it that way, but if you could have little, I can see some storytelling in other people's futures. It's going to be, imagine, well, we won't get into it. That'll be a whole nother episode. Imagine what YouTube has done for like how-to videos. I can go fix a toilet now or a 1980s radio. I can put it in and find out how to fix it. Imagine if somebody could make, Red Dawn 4 and they're able to not use copyrighted material, but they're able to do some wild and cool free thinking stuff. You're going to have tons of crap, but you'll have some gems, baby. You'll have some gems. All right. I'm going to get back on track. Got all fired up. The other thing I wanted to talk about. So some of you have seen, I had an interview I did with my mom. So mom, 81-year-old mom, Karen Pruitt, is joining me at the house. We're playing live sessions cooperatively where I use Mythic to allow us to play cooperatively, and Mythic answers a lot of the questions. I can still facilitate a little bit or pose the questions, or she'll do the same. And it's been a pure joy. She loves it. It's allowed her to take her mind off some of the stressful things, and our quality time together has just been magical. And then talking with RPG Elite and being interviewed, you are going to hear the heater kick on. Sorry, I didn't turn all that off. He convinced she and I to start filming those. I wasn't interested in turning it into content. And he said, no. I mean, sure, it'll help for content, but preserve what you're doing with your mom. I thought it could wreck the sessions. We tried it. It didn't. Wasn't sure mom would like it. And then she said, you know what? I watched it. I'm not going to take notes anymore. She was taking notes, trying to track the story and doing all this stuff. She said, I like that, but it took me out of the game. Now I can just go look at the different videos and refresh. So it's also clearly serving as a memory saver, because I already told her I went back and watched one of them as a refresh, and I'd forgotten a couple of things we talked about. There's just nothing better than that video, and her notes would be great. So now what you are seeing is when she comes over, she'll be here for sometimes up to 2 hours. But if she's here for an hour and a half, that's going to get me 3 25-minute shows out of it. And that means it ends up being a lot of content. It's actually been a lot of editing even. Not bad, though. Like I said, it's a gift. That one's a literal gift. But because of that, Tales from the Loop, which will continue, there's no way I'm stopping it, it put a slowdown on me putting out the war stories. You can see I've got a character sheet in here. I'd worked up a character just on my own. There's a couple different ways to do that. I was going to film myself. I thought it'd be out by now, doing up another character one way and then another character a different way. And then we were going to, I think I was going to have 4 or 5 characters going in. I think it was 4. And then we were going to get in there and start playing, because this is going to be one of the ones where I'm going to run a solo campaign in 2025. I still want to do that. Runs off the year zero engine, so the free league engine. I can run that in my sleep. There's a couple things that are unique for this particular company and this particular RPG. But if you know the system, you know the system. You just got to know the tweaks. I'll still get to that, but it slowed me down a little bit, and I just hadn't had time to get to it. That still will be coming this year. Other thing that slowed me down was Everyday Heroes got a hold of me and said, "Hey, would you review this?" It had been out for a while. I said, "Sure." And, I had some critical things to say in my review, if you've seen it. They said, "Hey, we appreciate the comments, good, bad, whatever." And they even said, "Hey, we've got this." One of the deals I had was, I'm kind of a weapons guy. And their weapons section, I thought, just visually was a little thin. Now, their chapter artwork is stunning. Stunning. This artist, I'm sure he's expensive because he's so darn good. I also said I would love to see some more of his art and a little bit less of the cartoony style. Now, they get to do whatever they want to do. Okay. This was just my own opinion. But the weapons, they're getting ready to have a couple new books. One's going to be called The Weapons Locker, and the other one's called The Garage. And they're going to be supplements for this. And they're going to send me that. And I did tell them I wanted to roll up a character with their system here as well. So I'm going to create a character. I don't have time to go through and run a solo campaign with the system or anything. But I said, you know what? I like this. I want to roll up a character and just get the feel for how that goes. I'm going to come to Star Wars in a second. But what's Dick saying here? My aunt gave my mom a copy of Mazes and Monsters to maybe scare her off of RPGs. My mom didn't bite, allowed me to continue. Awesome. That's very cool. Why would it scare her off? Are we talking way back in the day? The other one that I still want to run, I got deep into like what the setup and everything's going to be. It's going to be in Corellia, is Star Wars Edge of the Empire. And this hopefully will be in the latter part of 2025. I love Star Wars. Of course, we're talking a whole new system here. And there'll be a learning curve for me. But I've got a great setup storyline to cover. And I'm really looking forward to it. It was just fun diving back into Star Wars. So Star Wars 1978. It's the first movie, I'm 8 years old, that ever captures my attention. I'd been taken to Herbie the Love Bug and it was okay, but I'm like, that one, holy moly, transported me to a new world. The power of cinema. The power of cinema. Became a huge Han Solo fan. So one thing I love about what Fantasy Flight did, or now Edge Studios, one of their studios, is there is a rebel orange book that's all about the combat. So you could fight these battles and stuff between, fleets or ground battles. Edge of the Empire, the core rule book is more about kind of the gritty life of what Star Wars is. Han Solo, perfect. That's why he's on the cover. And then you've got the black or dark version. It's called Destiny, I think. I've got it as well. But that's all about the Jedi. I like Jedi, but not my plan to at least play a campaign with a Jedi anytime soon. I'm all about Han, baby. The good and the bad. Let's see, what do we got? We've covered that. We've covered that. Oh, I've got this on here. And then we'll circle back through and cover any detail, answer any questions. We got several people in. I also did just a 2025 fun prediction show. So I'll give you a little tidbit. As a kid, I think we were like 6th grade, maybe it was even 5th grade. We had to come up with an invention and we had to write a little short story about it. And then we had to, hold on before I go into the story, always wanted Chewbacca to be my co-pilot. Yeah, I love the fact that, Han would run spice, but boy, he wouldn't put up with the slavery. and then he sets Chewbacca free, and there's that life debt, kind of that Chinese life debt. You saved me, you're responsible for me, or I'm going to be responsible for you. I love that buddy side. Same thing with Rogue One, or whatever the relationship is, but it definitely, I'm going to go that it was just a best friend buddies. The two Asian dudes just were brothers in arms, or they're both warrior monks. And man, just that the bonds they did, it's become, Empire is still my favorite, but Rogue One has just kept moving up. The visuals, of course, are stunning, but I really like, there's some weird parts in some things, but of course, Darth Vader's section, unbelievable. Man, there was so much possibility and promise. And then it went to hell. All right, but my fun prediction show 2025, if you haven't seen that, go check it out. I make these wild predictions, but here's what I was going to say. I was a kid. I was growing up in Evergreen, Colorado, the mountains, all right, like 45 minutes up from the foothills. And the cool thing, I lived in Valley High Ranch, and the cool thing on this was we were more at the bottom of this mountain. Now, you're in a range of mountains, and then this is like a littler mountain. There was like the upper level and the lower level, and then, of course, people are living around in the middle. But when you were with a buddy and you felt adventurous, I had a Schwinn bike. Now, this is your 1975 bike. It's a heavy frame. It had big old dirt bike tires, but this is not an easy bike to pedal up a hill, nor is there any kind of shifting gears or anything. And and I had a beautiful banana seat, and it was silver and black. But you and a buddy, when you were committed, you would spend probably an hour, 45 minutes to an hour, and you would walk up, maybe ride a little bit, walk up, get all the way to the top. And then you could start your glorious ride down. It would take you about 5 minutes, sometimes barely in control, having to watch and listen for cars that might be coming up because you're doing hairpin turns. And the ride down was magical. Every once in a while, I could talk the folks into me throwing a bike in the back, and they'd drive me up real quick while they were headed off to the store so I could get a free ride down. But that had led me to an idea. We would go skiing every once in a while. Keystone, we didn't go to the nicer ones. I can't remember. It was mostly Keystone that we went to. There was another one I'm blanking, but I thought they're not using this enough in the winter or in the summer. If you could hook a bike rack to these ski seats, chairlifts, and take your bike up and ride down these trails with the bike, oh my God. And I colored it. I drew it all in. Teacher gave me an A, said, hey, this is actually a pretty good idea. And I thought, yeah. Well, that was it. I was in 6th grade or 7th grade or something. And then I find out like years later, they started doing it. Of course they started doing it. You can turn your ski slopes into stuff in the summer, because people they would give rides up, and some people would hike, but you couldn't get down. You had to ride back down. So every once in a while, I'll have these wild ideas of thought. So I wanted to make a 2025 prediction show. I've also got this very cool idea. I'm going to just pinhole this. I'm just throwing a pin out there. Retirement home on the moon. That's all I'm saying. But imagine you're 80. You can't break a hip on the moon. 1/5 gravity, baby. You fall down, you hit your butt, your little finger, come back up. I'll go into that later because I got other ideas. People are like, what the hell am I tuning into? This AT-AT shirt, dude? What? All right. The other thing that's happened was monsters, aliens, and holes in the ground. I started reading this. Sometimes the alliteration's a little off, but you get a history of the 1970s and the order of course, and with these beautiful little bookmark deals that you can kind of see there. So you can see the 80s. It's a great time. I've read through the 80s. Where's the 80s cover art? Look at this. 1980s, baby. And so you get this history as the games are coming out, little blurbs on them. Moving into the 90s, moving into the 2000s, 2010s. This has been a joy, but it's also fairly thick and kind of distracted me from gaming, which I don't like, but that has been fun to read. And then let me throw a little bit of this. So I read a lot of apocalyptic, post-apocalyptic 1980s. Think a Western, but instead they called them like Rambo Westerns, I think. You had this, hero with a knife and a submachine gun. Excuse me. And he would, go forth and be your hero. So, but where this is very cool from Adam Rowe is you get a breakdown of different individual artists. See if I can find something cool. Sure. So Angus Mackay, you get this breakdown of their art and then a little blurb on like the style and what they did and then the individual publications that they appeared in. And you'll get individual artists. Then you'll get like, here's planets, explorers, and space travel. So this section's going to focus on that. And you'll get these cool vistas and things here, all from the 70s with some nods to the 80s and some comments sometimes back in the 60s. Really cool from David Hardy. I actually really like David Hardy stuff. So very nice if you're interested. Do be careful, of course. I got this off Amazon. Now, I like ordering from Amazon. I have the Prime. But, man, they do not package books, whether they're RPG books or art books, for safety. Sometimes they don't even throw bubbles in there or paper. They just throw them in there and they get their corners beat to death. I had to do some fix-up work on this. I don't like sending stuff back. I don't need it pristine. But gets my crafting going. So check these out if you get a chance. What do we got here? Mad Max is a great example of dystopian preamble. Yes. Yeah. Oh, boy. You want to talk about a movie dream of mine. Well, first of all, they need to bring back Mel Gibson as an old Mad Max. You want to talk about an out-of-the-box hit. If you get the right script writer on there and you've got him with his brace and his sawed-off shotgun and maybe doing one last ride. Oh, God. I would be in line to go see that. And all I'm asking is Hollywood, give us what we're asking for. I'll throw my money at you. I want to see Mad Max. Hell, bring back the Wild Kid, too. I've got a throwback to the Wild Kid in my live Knave going on here. So what do we got here with Dick Skull coming in? Red Mars, Blue Mars, Green Mars. Yeah, I read all those. The trilogy from Ken. Yeah. I was talking to my son about that. And I like the Mars board game. I'm forgetting its deal, but I play the app. And it always lets me channel that feeling. Because if I remember right, as they got into the Blue Mars, they had seeded it with like a bacterial, a moss almost, that starts putting out more and more like O2 or whatever. But weren't they going to make a movie on that? That would be so perfect again to cover. And it was a 100-year project of terraforming. Yep. Sorry. Loved it. So, but I think we've covered everything. We'll do a roll back around. We'll take any questions. I'll talk. Star Wars, we're good. One thing I like about the show, I'm not trying to work algorithms or anything. If you've seen my shows, I'm not trying to hit an algorithm. I'm just having fun. My personal opinion is I think that is what will work over time. And I'm going to give you a secret already. It does everything I want it to do, so it's already working. It's already a success. Um, it's not paying any bills. So, but I don't need it to. I've worked for 29 years in law enforcement, and I've invested, and I don't need it to pay any bills. So you'll keep seeing it coming. Um, I suppose it'd be nice if more people liked it, but let's get real. Come on. What am I even thinking here? Can't be delusional. All right, Chief, I'll try and get brave enough to jump back into live play. I do have a golem you could play. Um, uh, and there's a wild kid. You could play the wild kid. His name is Graveworm. All we know is he's not really a kid. We don't know what he is. So check back episodes if you're not caught up. And we'd love to have you roll in, Dick, and jump in there. We've got a guy named Jay is playing as well right now. I'm even working in for folks that want to remote in live. Some folks don't want to do that. Never Fear just wants to put comments on the side, which is totally cool. It's whatever mode. Some people don't want to run a character, but they don't mind. Like Ref likes to roll it for us every once in a while, or he'll like to name a tavern or come up with a character. So I love that group participation that happens in those lives. And it's just so much fun. So, and when you got a group of people that are having as much fun playing, helping to roll, naming stuff, running a character, coming up with, hey, this is what my character wants to do. It's just a pure joy. I don't know. I mean, it just can't get much better. I have my group actually here. We meet once a month. We'll be here playing tomorrow. That's fun too. But when I'm running it so ad hoc with these lives that there's very little stress. And that's been a new joy, because I'll get a little stress before I got a group of 5 or 6 coming over. Not much, but I've got to have a few plans ready to go. I don't overscript stuff there as well. So I'm using Mythic with them as well, but I got to have a few more things ready to go, because they're in a whole world. We're doing a West Marches, and so I got to be ready. If they go here, I got to have I got an idea of what's over there. So we're not doing that in the live. It's just whoop, here we go. All right, let's see. I think we'll kind of wrap up. Just a retouch for folks that have rolled in late. We are running these lives every 2 weeks. Right now we're doing Knave 2E. I will add this image back in. This is the thumbnail that will be for episode 9. It doesn't look like this actually anymore. It looked like this when we first showed up in the deepest part of the cavern, where this group of cultists led by a lead priest and surrounded by these other 10 subalternate priests, they are opening a portal to hell. They're bringing through a succubus, and we could just see her showing up in the center of that demon eye. And then we started to disrupt their plans. And the fight is on. This angle you're seeing is where some of us are even actually standing. Out. I keep hitting the wrong button. So that one is in full crazy action. All right, cool. You're going to pop in, and spontaneous creative imagination is the root of fun in RPGs. Yes. The episode you ended up joining with the colonel, that was like a comedy skit. We're just sitting in an inn, but there's domestic violence going on with the guy that was, I think, caught cheating or something. The colonel just being in charge and kind of being a cool dude with a peg leg. Mm-hmm. People are still going and watching Maze Rats too. I mean, it's not like it's getting 1,000 views a day or anything, but it's over. I think it's at like 1,200 views or something. It's just continuing to grab views, and that's quite a series to tune into. It was 26 episodes. So, but if people get interested, and I love these, they start from nowhere. what I do is you're dropped in and you got nothing, and then the campaign builds as you go. So I can't do how-tos. I played role-playing games, mostly Twilight 2000 in the 80s, but not a ton. And I had one D&D wonderful experience, but I just wasn't as much into fantasy. So I'm weak on fantasy. People bring up fantasy stuff while we're in live, and I'm like, I don't know what that is. And they're like, what? You don't know all the rules or the myth of a lich? And they'll have to educate me. I can tell you all about like an AK-47. So, but that's half the fun as well. And so it's just forget where I was going with being in the 80s. Oh, and I took off decades. I was a war gamer, board gamer, and doing my real life military, police, and all that kind of stuff. And then thank goodness for Free League, they bring back Twilight 2000 4th edition. I kickstart it, and along with my son and his leanings, I get thrown into I purposely dove into the deep end of the RPG world, and I'm loving it. I am really to the detriment of my board game playing. I haven't been playing board games hardly at all with my wife, some Euro game stuff, but otherwise it's RPG all the time. So that's about it. All right. If no other questions, no other comments coming in, we're at 31 minutes. If anyone wants to know anything about the books or the games coming up or any other general questions, I'll hang for just another couple minutes. And, I know what my other one is, the AMC Walking Dead. I'm doing that co-op with my best friend. He was my first partner on the police department. He made it up to lieutenant. He retired. Unfortunately, he is moved already to Florida, to Tampa. Never saw that coming, but things happen. And we are going to try to figure out a way to he's done many remotes using a system. It's just like this live, but you don't air it live. And then you can save it and even edit it and do some different stuff. We're good enough. We probably could even do it live. But we'll leave it to a state where I can probably do some editing. Oh, look at this. Every day is Friday. All right. Just jumping on. Looking forward to your Star Wars game. Me too. Or War Stories. I just said Star Wars. War Stories. I saw war and my kid brain goes to Star Wars. War Stories. Yes. For those that don't know, I'm not doing 101st or Airborne or Infantry Troops. I'm doing OSS. I even picked up an OSS book. I'm now going to forget the name of the head of OSS. Is it Donahue? Ended up being a 2-star general. He had the Congressional Medal. It's just the Medal of Honor. Got it in kind of an odd way, but he had a Silver Star. I think it was Silver Star, and he earned that, and then they turned it into a Medal of Honor. But what I'm going to have is, I love the OSS that they brought in some misfits. They would have a great detective from the police department that was just a hard-nosed detective, and they'd bring him in and say, you know what, it'll probably be good as a spy. Yeah. They would grab a burglar, and maybe the detective even said, oh, I know a guy that can break into high rises and scale the outside of a building. Go get Jack the Hack. And Jack the Hack is suddenly working with the detective, and they're in the OSS, but they're breaking into a Nazi place. Yeah, I want to run those stories with this. So these will be these guys that are going behind enemy lines and doing secret stuff. And, you're going to have, a cross of a thug and a detective that are now doing it for their country. So I love it. So just jumping in, looking forward to your War Stories game. Me too. I'm going to do the Everyday Heroes character creation first. I think I want to get that done. Nothing hard on it or anything. Just walk through how it happens, what you do. I'll get that filmed up once I fully recover and then have some time. I was just sitting on a couch zoned out with the flu. So All right. Seeing nothing else coming in and being at almost 35 minutes, I will wrap it up here. Look for those games in the future. The Tales from the Loop will continue to drop. Those aren't stopping until, I was going to say until I drop. But my mom told me she's at a premonition. She's 81. She feels she'll live to be 88. I'm like, Mom. She goes, 88. I'm like, okay. So hopefully we'll be rolling games as long as we're both of sound mind until she's 88. So 7 more years. That would be a lot of great bonding time with RPGs with Mom. So you'll be seeing Tales from the Loop with kids on bikes in an alternate 1980s. That's what that is from Free League. Hopefully I'll get a Walking Dead coming in. We just had Myrtle the Turtle get stabbed. You'll have to go tune in to find out why Myrtle the Turtle got stabbed. And join us in 2 weeks. See if we can close a portal to hell. Boom, that's it. We're out. See ya. Bye.